This is the Matrix Study Hall. You've entered a new level of awakening. At this time, we're going to be getting into the analysis of one of Hollywood's beta kittens or hidden mind control agents of provocateur. All right, this one is in regard to Doja Cat. Now, I'm not going to be covering a lot of these women, but I just want to point this out because a lot of the imagery that she uses is really obvious, although people have been culled into this comatose like state where they see these things and they kind of play it off as just artistic expression and this and that, or it's just a coinky dink. And there's no coincidences. These people back these particular artists with a lot of funding. And so they're very intentional and they actually have an aim, definitely an aim for certain individuals, in particular children. And so let's go ahead and get into this. And I want to also start off by asking you to like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. It helps my messages get out here into the algorithm. So help your sister out, help your brother out. Okay. We are really trying to do our best to keep people aware, keep people awake, so that they cannot be a pawn in this game of the music industry, okay? The industry as a whole within the GOVT, all of that, okay? Because it's definitely a GOVT program. Now let's get into this. Now, first off, this is all alleged. I definitely want to put that in here. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to begin adding that into a banner. All of this is alleged. This is satire. Okay, now that we've got all the formalities out the way, let's get into it. So the concept of beta kitten programming is something that people deem as a conspiracy theory. Okay, but there are connections between the entertainment industry and also the government agency, the alphabet boys, starting with the C, ending with an A, and their real life mind control programming and experiments that have been conducted since the mid 20th century. And so these things have been proven, but now because people are seeing this on such a consistent basis, they're sort of believing that it's just entertainment, it's just fun. But there is a deeper rooted thing that's going on. And there's a lot of documented evidence to support this. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of it, but a little bit of what I'm going to share right now is in regarding to this particular artist, Doja Cat. Now, the reason I bring her up is because as somebody that I've always loved music, but the older I got, I don't know, maybe my frontal cortex developed more, and I began to have more logical thinking. All those things I kind of passed off as, oh, it's just a weird coincidence that they're saying and doing certain things when it comes to their music, when it comes to imagery that they're using. I begin to see that these things are not just a coincidence. There is a direct correlation with them putting forth a very demonic, subtle conditioning to the point where a lot of people are engaging in embracing the dark side, per se, as a form of rebellion, as a form of, just being very goth inspired pop, or, all these things, even when it comes to rap being sort of emo at this time. They're utilizing these things in order to get people to align with satanic agendas under the guise of creativity and artistry. Another thing too I want to point out is how there is a strong targeting on the youth. Now within the thumbnail, and y'all, once I get the gist of using StreamYard, I'll be able to include more visuals within the shares. But, I'm getting the gist of it. I'm going to improve, but just follow me here. If you refer back to the thumbnail, I have a couple of images that really point out to me. Now, the first one is the one where she's pretending to be dressing up as a character in Animal Crossing is what it's called. It's a game, and it's very popular amongst children, teens, what have you. And it may be something she enjoyed herself. But the problem lies within this. Although she's very pretty, very beautiful girl, they use their aesthetic to not only be visually appealing, but also to lure people into monstrosities. Like she actually have monsters tattooed on her. Okay. And with her pretending to be a character for Animal Crossing, when a lot of children look up this particular game and they may be drawn in by her very cutesy costume, then when they look into some of her other work, in particular, she released an album in 2023, which was titled Demons. Now, this album is very dark, very eerie aesthetics, and there's a lot of supernatural undertones in it, including the Grim Reaper. So when children venture into seeing, okay, what else does she do? And they see the things that she's involved with, this is like literally a gateway uh substance, I'll put it that way. A gateway avenue to get children to be in alignment with what she's doing. Another thing too they may begin to see in regarding to her album titled Demons is Paint the Town Red. Okay, this music video and also the other music video Demons, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, but this one, Paint the Town Red. Okay, there was a lot of visuals in regard to human sacrifice, uh, cannibalism, a whole lot of things. There was a lot of symbolism, even in regard to abortions and things of that sort. And again, the one eye symbolism, which red flags, she's definitely a part of the hidden hand. Okay, and so the phrase paint the town red itself can be interpreted as symbolic of rebellion, of embracing sin. Even in the imagery of the video, she has a wig on, but it's like halfway on, halfway off. It's just like she's doing everything the opposite. It's just small little things, but very massive in comparison to her, trying to put off this image where she was kind of popish, but then this other contrast of the image she puts out, which is heavily laden with occult and satanic leanings. Okay, let's go into the next video that she put out, which is Demons. Okay, she's shown with blackened eyes, sharp claws. Okay, she's literally hanging on the ceiling. Okay, and all these things may be depicted in horror films, but the problem in her putting forth this type of content when she's also trying to get the attention of youth with dressing up in youthful characters and things like that, this is how you're leading people into darkness, to children. Another thing too I want to share in regard to another stunt in which she's trying to garner the attention of the youth is the Brisk commercial. Now, Brisk is a tea, very popular amongst teens per se, but even there's so many layers to it. So it's like this animated version of a Brisk commercial and a depiction of her, and she's in the woods, and then she says something about basically an alluding to the song Demons, like all my demons activate or something to that. And then all the animals in the forest light up, and the guy that she was with in this animation version of her and a guy in the forest, their eyes light up when she speaks about demons activate, and they attack the guy but not her. So, and keep in mind the guy is a black guy. So it's just like she's also playing into this thing of gender wars, also this racial element and undertone of to sacrifice your own man, the black man, but whatever. Yeah, it's all of that in there. But again, this is something marketed towards children as cool, popular, trendy, and it's all wrong. Another thing too I want to get into is a lot of the fashion that she puts out, even in the imagery of her. A lot of times she's depicted as a demon. So it comes to a point where a lot of times these beta kittens are utilized to be very covert with the things that they're doing and saying. She's more so overt, like it's just no holes barred. Like it's just all out. Even to her, even depicting herself as a feline, a cum girl. She had this white substance all over her head. Um, Even her being bejeweled in a bunch of red jewels from top to bottom. Okay, also to me, that was giving an homage to the ugly carnivals that was in Berlin, it was in France, where women were, you know, tortured. Women were pulled out into the street. They were forced to be prostitutes, but then also condemned, and they were treated horribly. Their heads were shaven, and then again, she shaves her head a lot. Like all these things, people usually in their right mind do not go to the extent to align with things that are very sinister. She even at times has said things about in live streams. Okay, I've seen clips where she would say things about fecal matter, carrying a doggy bag of fecal matter inside of her and then consuming it. Like she's into some really occultic, dark things. And if the youth are taking in her content and thinking this is cool, more often than not, they're going to be copying the very things that she's saying and putting out there. Also, when it comes to Doja Cat's lyrics, okay, they may not as a whole say that she's involved in demonic worship, but there's a lot of strong themes that support it. She's definitely on the dark side. And another thing too I want to speak about is how she's also utilizing this dark imagery to be interpreted in several different ways. First, it could be looked at as, okay, rebellion against industry standards and expectations, okay? Because again, I think she's a very beautiful lady, which a lot of these girls are, but they utilize their beauty for wickedness. And she initially came out with more of like a pop aesthetic, very girly, um, but then it's taken on more of a darker, more sinister tone. Okay, now this could be looked at as a form of artistic rebellion per se, breaking free from industry constraints. Okay, so once she may have appeared to be very lighthearted, but then she shifted to more of a darker aesthetic, and this too could be played into the hidden hand of the controllers, the puppeteers behind the industry that like to utilize duality rituals and so many different forms of humiliation rituals to serve their purpose. Okay, and they're involving us in their rituals by putting this in our faces. Another thing too I want to speak in regard to her is her shock value. Now, is this shock value or is this just a conditioning to behave in which the way she does as a beta kitten, an agent of provocateur for hidden mind control? Okay, other artists such as Lady Gaga, Little Nas X, okay, and so many others, even Marilyn Manson, they have used horror inspired imagery, satanic imagery. Okay, this is used to provoke discussions, to keep their names trending, to keep them, you know, at the top of the feed, to maintain some type of relevance. But when it comes to Doja Cat in particular, her recent imagery, it may seem to be a strategic move to kind of stir up controversy and to keep people talking about her music, but it has a very horror influence to it, especially when it comes to her imagery in Demons and other projects that align more so with like this horror film aesthetic rather than a genuine occultic message. So it's like they are upgrading on their hidden programming. All right. And to me, it's very obvious. And it's something we need to be aware of. And especially if you have children, you need to shield them away from these things, because sometimes these children are being involved in things and they just think that it's cool and it's trendy. And especially if somebody that has thousands or millions of followers or subscribers, they tend to think that it's okay. A lot of people are following them when that is just a sign of being in a very fallen world. Another thing too I want to speak to is about how although she carries forth this very demonic imagery alluding to occultic practices and rituals and Satanism, she's Also, in her own response, posted sarcastic remarks, seemingly mocking those who take the rumors seriously about what she's really involved in. So this suggests that she's aware of the controversy, but she sees it as exaggerated or misguided rather than a reflection of her actual beliefs. I think it's a lot of truth in her artistry of what she really believes in. Okay, but others may beg to differ. Now, another thing too, I want to state in regard to this whole programming, because while her recent projects, the visuals, they incorporate dark, very supernatural elements. Again, this is all alleged. There's no definitive evidence that she's promoting demons, but I digress. I believe, okay, you're literally pretending to be a demon, so you are a demon. You have demons tattooed on you. And although people may think that it's just imagery, it's just artistry, it's harmless creativity, but no, there's something more sinister. And ultimately, this depends on people's personal perspective. I tend to look at it much more different, especially when it comes to the fact that the alleged mind control programming that is so popular, so circulated when it comes to the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole, is a real life problem. Okay, people are programmed to behave in the most deplorable ways. They're aiding in uh unalivings, kidnappings, all these very horrible things. But it's under the guise of being cool and trendy. Also, another thing too, in regard to this monarch mind control system that's being utilized in media. All right, although again, this is like a trauma-based programming. So the things that these people that actually get into the industry, their personalities become split, okay, or become alters because they're triggered by the things that they may have had to endure actually to get in. So this is why sometimes it's as if some of them break character and it's like they want to get out of whatever they're involved in, but then they revert backwards. Okay, it's like no way out. And so some people may just look at this as conspiracy theories, but there's a lot of heavy symbolism here. And often people want you to believe that it's not really what it is that you're seeing. Another thing, too, is a lot of the cat imagery, okay? Leopard print, feline print. This is Beta Kitten's allegiance. So even when it comes to Kim K, and I'm going to be doing another live in regards to Kim K because she's also a part of this, a Beta Kitten. But when you wear these certain things, okay, pretending to be a cat or a leopard or, a feline of some sort, it's like you are showing your allegiance to this beta programming, being able to be programmable, being able to be use seduction, disassociate with who you are. Okay, this overt sensuality is just literally being a XXES slave for the elite. And they're wanting the masses to watch this and think that this is acceptable and actually okay. Another thing too is the butterflies and dolls. Now, again, I love butterflies and all that, but within the industry, they utilize these things for particular reasons. Symbols of monarch programming. Very, very common. And also, it's evident that this is a part of manipulation that's happening when it comes to the provocative imagery, okay, the hidden messages and agendas, even when it comes to artists such as Britney Spears, Nicki Minaj. And again, we're speaking about Doja Cat, but all these artists have had a major influence on the industry, and their fashion choices are not coincidental. They play into the link of actually being beta kittens, okay, and their allegiance to it, allegedly. And sometimes they're even glitching out, as in regard to Britney Spears. She was seen glitching. Some other ones, B Cardi, okay, you get what I mean, was glitching as well. Um, yeah, their mind control sometimes have a break, but then they snap back. It could be because of their handlers, it could be because of their programming. And this is what's actually happening in reality. Another thing too I want to share in regarding to the signs of hidden mind control is the fact that there's a lot of girls that are going out and wanting to basically emulate, dress like, look like, speak like, talk like these artists. So it's not just all fun and games that these beta kittens are highly successful. They are agents of control, okay, to perpetuate a particular behavior pattern, okay, to keep women in a particular position. And so, although beta programming is alleged, okay, and it seems to be very popular, this is a major form of keeping people in an inferior position and furthering levels of moral decay. So that's all I have right now. That's just my, my humble opinion in regard to Doja Cat and the dangers of this massive programming by the industry by these beta kittens. And I also want to share that although as women, yes, women have gone through so many different things, okay? And at times when we see a reflection or a similar woman that looks like us, or just women in general, because there's beauty in all races. But when you see women, in particular women of black women, get into a position of power or they climb up the ranks within media, within these industries, within the music industry, it's a part of us that want to see us depicted, okay, represented, but at what cost? If we're seeing ourselves at the top of the music industry or entertainment industry as a whole, but we're in a position where we are beta kittens, where we are loose and lascivious, where we are literally pimping ourselves, that's not a win. That is a massive loss. So we should never be in a position where we're so desperate to see representation that we accept anything. All right, I just wanted to add that in. Until next time, y'all, stay true. The Matrix Study Hall will be back again later. Bye bye.